This is Lazy Money Machine. My name is Graham Brown, joined by my sidekick.
Yeah, definitely sidekick today. Eric in Jakarta.
Yeah, my sidecar. Hey, you know what? It's like I got an article to share with you. Actually, you found this article, so you can take credit for this. But this is so good, this article. It was in Business Insider.
Right.
And the title of the article is People in Russia are renting out private jets, grounded private jets by the hour, just to take Instagram photos. I'll give you a bit of background and then we'll talk about our own personal context, because we've had this conversation this week, haven't you?
Yes.
$244 can buy you a 2-hour photo shoot on a private jet. Have you seen these photos on Instagram? You know,
Yes.
These sort of rich kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you know how it happens, right? I imagine. Do you think a lot of these are fake? These people are doing these private jet studio sessions?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And it's even known that there are guys on the internet selling get rich courses whereby they've rented out villas and jets and whatever to do, to pretend that they're there, but they're not really there. So I'm completely not surprised, especially in Russia, in these upcoming economies. I mean, I see it here in Indonesia. Instagram is really big here. So, and people do want to show off if they are in a position of luxury, whether it's eating in a fancy restaurant or sometimes people just take photos in front of a fancy restaurant. So I'm not surprised at all by this.
The interesting thing about this is the story that really goes behind it is like the pressure that is upon us to live our lives for other people. And I've taken a decision this week. I actually temporarily deactivated my Instagram account just because I needed a break.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not saying I'm not beyond social media, because I think it has its role, but I certainly feel that pressure. I feel that pressure to live my life, to impress other people. Do you feel that as well? I mean, because you had this conversation. I noticed a posting that you made this week about social media. I wonder what instigated that for you.
Yeah, actually, I did post something about that in our Lazy Money Machine tribe, our closed Facebook group that we sell together with our book. I also put it on my normal Facebook because I looked at my phone and I saw how many apps I have on there. And the thing, the biggest time waster that I had on there were WhatsApp groups. So groups where there's like 40 or 50 or 100 people in there. And there's just chatter there. There's just, people chatting about birthdays and about this and about that. And you can't avoid that because if they're in your WhatsApp, it's like it's a messaging service. So they keep coming up. And I decided, look, I'm going to first of all, I'm going to get out of all these groups that I don't really have any use for. And then I looked at some of these other applications, and even though I didn't use them very much, I mean, there was like Periscope, and there was like a few other ones, and I just threw them off my phone. I thought, why do I have them there? It still reminds me that there is this world out there that I should possibly be part of. And for me, Instagram is next. Like you, I mean, I'm at the point where we do use it for our business, but I think that's what I just want to do is just have a one-way automated system that posts for me on these channels. But I don't need to be there and interact with people, I think. But it seems silly, right? I mean, if that's the case, you might as well not do it, I think. But
it's the fear of missing out, though, right? That seems to be the driver. Unfortunately, we fear that if we drop it or we're not involved, we might miss something. Hey, I've noticed something. This is strange. I've noticed something. I don't know if it works for you as well, but I think at the end of the day, we all want social interaction. Mm-hmm. That's never you can't not have that. Mm-hmm. And I think, that's why social media exists, to give us feedback on the stuff that we do. So I think that will be there. You can't sort of stop social media because then you'll look for something else to give you social interaction. You'll just sort of stop Instagram and start Snapchat or something like that.
Well, or you start talking to a normal person, maybe. That's my hope, actually.
Well, maybe I think isn't that the problem, that we don't have as much as that as we used to? That's why social media exists today, because we don't. I don't know. There must be studies to say how much social interaction we had face to face. I guess that's the point. It's a balance. It will always pop up somewhere. Mm-hmm. My thought. I'm finding this is that as I'm doing more podcasts, as I'm interacting with more people, like in the Lazy Money Machine group. The people that are involved in our network, and I'm doing other podcasts as well. As I'm getting a lot of feedback, I feel less inclined to get onto social media and tell people about my day on Instagram. I
So
think that's true.
that's interesting. So how does that work for you? Can you run that by me? That I would like to find out how you look at this.
Yeah. I mean, I've Instagram. I've had an account for God knows how many years. I've pretty much posted every day on my account. I've got 5,000 followers on it, so it's a pretty busy account.
Okay.
And I've documented all my journeys and all that stuff on it, and shared it with people, and I've made friends through it, and so on. But now I'm finding, like, I'm doing this podcast with you, Eric, and like I'm interacting with people on the Lazy Money Machine group, and I'm doing another podcast in tech and interacting with people there.
Yes.
Now I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Okay.
My is the word desire to use Instagram is lessened.
Okay.
Do you think that's kind of what's going on? Are you finding the same thing? Like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, no, sure. For me, I think it's sort of, if I make it more abstract, it's the balance between sending and consuming.
right.
So I found myself being an enormous consumer of other people's social media. And I found out that that's actually, in the end, that's very bland and empty. And that's I was triggered by something you said, because we might need social interaction on social media, but in my case at least, I found it very one way. I found myself spending a lot of time consuming and very little time sending, because I thought I don't want to share my private life, and I still sort of think why would I do that? So the communication that I'm now involved with you, for instance, and on our Facebook group, that's sort of thematic sending. I do share things that are happening in my life, but I think, okay, I'm trying to serve this group, right? So my sending on this podcast, in our book, in our group, in our tribe, the sending is now the need to help others, or the need to share something that could be of value to someone else. And I think when you come from the sending, then I think it's more rewarding. That's my personal view.
But that's like creating something, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas, like, for example, if you look at those guys on Instagram, that's just the consuming part, isn't it? Like you say. And I think that makes you unhappy, because then you look at it and you're thinking, like, why the hell are these guys flying around in a private jet?
And I'm not.
Yeah, and I'm a successful entrepreneur, and, I don't have a private jet.
Right.
And that's we compare, don't we?
Yes.
It's a natural tendency to compare our lives. I think that's a habit we can't break. I mean, I do it. I know you meditate and stuff like that, but maybe that's sort of what needs to happen. But I don't think it's something that could ever change.
No. I think it's very harming. I think we can spend half an hour talking about social media, but I think for me personally, this week has been one of these weeks where I thought, okay, I just really need to do something about it. And the good thing is, you and I have been working on how do we use social media in our business, in what we're trying to do here. But that's different, yeah. If we define, okay, we're going to give it this place. We're doing Facebook ads, we're doing recruitment through Facebook. That's a different story than just diving in for half an hour and absorbing the timeline of random people with their lives and their food and their dinners and their
fake lives, right?
And turns out a lot of that is fake, and they might not even go to the extent of hiring a private jet. But
but those sort of things are very similar, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't it kind of what's coming out of this, and what we're learning is that if you're just a consumer, you're going to make yourself unhappy. You could be a consumer in the real world, which is, like, I need a new pair of shoes, I need a new handbag. Or you could be a consumer on social media, which is like, I need to get more information, more likes, more whatever. Mm-hmm. Whereas being a creator is different, and that's much more rewarding because it's real, and that's more like the social interaction which we crave. Yeah, because somebody can actually you can have a real conversation with somebody, right?
Definitely, yeah. And I think the other thing with creation is, you create something of value. So the conversation is also about the stuff that you have created. It's not about the fake pictures of your breakfast and your dinner that you put up. So the depth of the conversation is much better, I think, if you become a creator instead of a consumer.
And it's a real conversation. Something you said to me a while back, which really struck with me, is that you said, don't create two versions of yourself. And that really resonated with me because we were talking about when we were doing our Lazy Money Machine group for the Facebook group, the videos, we were thinking, oh, we've got to have the setup. It's kind of like that private jet conversation, because if somebody came along and said, hey, look, you can borrow my private jet and shoot them in there, for $100 an hour or whatever, $200 an hour, we probably would have said yes, because that would have given the impression that we're these super successful dudes flying around in private jets. But then you create two versions of yourself, right? And I think what people really like in the Facebook group is it's honest.
Yes.
Isn't that what we're trying to get across?
Well, I think in my point of view, you need to come from authenticity, right? You need to be authentic in what you do. And I think if we would have created a character, we would have to become stage actors. And we're not, we're just business guys wanting to help others. That's the mission. And, we don't want to put on a suit and learn our script and go on stage. I don't think that's a sustainable and real world. We just want to be as we are. And with that, I think comes that you need to be authentic on social media. I think, don't you? That's sort of where we're getting at, right? And being authentic there, then you have to think, okay, how much of my life do I really want to share there?
Yeah, that's tough though, right? I think that's the challenge, because you can't be authentic because there is the pressure, because everybody's playing a game, aren't they? So when people compare you to other people, your normal life, well, it doesn't look so interesting after all, right? And we feel the pressure to ham that up. So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's really interesting, this area. I mean, curious to know what people think. You can hit us up on the if you're listening to this as a part of the Facebook group, the Lazy Money Tribe, then you can just share your comments. We'd really like to know what your attitude towards social media is, because it's an ongoing conversation. There isn't a single, response or answer to this, is there? It's sort of everybody's work in progress. And I think that's the challenge.
Yeah. Just one more thought that popped into my mind. I'd rather have my kids find this audio in 20 years and they go back and look, that's what my dad did, instead of them going back to my Instagram account with my fake pictures. That's just how I feel about it.
Wow, that's profound.